everybody. Welcome back to Tech Sheck, continuing the journey to highlight interesting, unique companies from the Pakistan tech startup ecosystem. And boy, are there a lot of them, and we keep finding them. Today, we're lucky to have with us Adil Nisar, the co-founder of Oware. Adil, thanks for being on the show.
Hi, Farrokh. Thank you for this lovely opportunity.
Well, it's our pleasure, and it's great to see good things happening. So let's jump in, like we always do. Adil, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about Oware.
Thank you, Farrokh. So I'm Adil. I'm the co-founder. We started Oware back in June 21, and it's been almost 1 year, and it's been an immense journey. So I come from a background of startups. So I previously worked at Kareem and then at Daraz. And then later on, I started my own venture. It was called Novo. So it was a manufacturing concern where I was manufacturing and distributing LED lights. So started with just one SKU and wanted to grow my product portfolio and my sales across Pakistan. And that's where I saw the challenge that for small businesses in Pakistan, there is no fulfillment player, especially with tech enablement. So a small player has to do their own warehousing, distribution, and also manage the production and the sourcing part. So there was a lot of things happening at once, and that's where I connected with Raza, who's the other co-founder, and we came to this idea that we need to create a shared infrastructure, especially for fair housing and distribution, where brands can get easy access to different areas and increase their distribution across Pakistan.
Excellent. Well, it seems the need of the hour became the idea of the hour, which is great. So tell us a little bit, let's talk a little bit specifically about what Oware actually does. I understand the logistics and the fulfillment piece. So can we unpack that a little bit?
So what we do is we help brands get easy access to storage spaces across Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a very strategic network of warehouses located across the country, and
Okay.
brands can easily start operations from either of these facilities without without a very complex journey where they have to negotiate for rents, leases, or invest in any capital expenditures. So with us, they come to our platform, they select the space, the amount of space that is required. Then from there on, we take over the entire fulfillment process, and we give them a very digital platform from where they can basically have a single point of view of their entire supply chain and manage the distribution. So even if they're sitting in Karachi and their head office is in Karachi, they can still manage multiple locations up to our platform without physically being present there. So we're basically enabling a lot of small businesses who don't have a lot of capital. And through this platform, they're able to cover most of the population in Pakistan without having to spend a lot of money.
Interesting. So on the back of that, now obviously looks like you've got some sizable investments, right? You're putting in this warehousing and logistics infrastructure. What's your revenue model look like?
So our business model is pretty straightforward. So on the warehousing side, we charge per pallet per unit. So let's say if you store only 3 pallets, then we'll charge according to that. So how we're different from the traditional players is that we don't have any minimum chargeable. So that means that we will not ask you to give us 90% of the volume, even if you don't have that much. So we're pretty much open to all sizes of business. So it can start from 1 pellet to, let's say, 20,000 pellets across different warehouses, and it's completely variable and dynamic. And then from there on, we have a fulfillment charge. So for any product that we inbound, outbound, and then ship it to the customer, and we have a single charge on that. And then we have complete transparent invoicing. So whatever is done, whatever activity is done in the entire process, we basically give you a very transparent invoice with all the activities. So for example, if you've stored 20 pellets, we'll tell you like 20 pellets into 1,000 rupees. And then if we've inbounded 3 trucks, we will tell you we inbounded 3 trucks, outbounded 4 trucks, and then also the freight for that. So what we additionally do is we also manage the freight side. So we want to give our customers a single platform. So that means they don't have to go to any other platform to get freight as well, because normally it's very, very common to arrange for transportation from the warehouse. So we manage the end-to-end visibility for that process. and then also give them a complete, simplified, and transparent billing. So this actually enables a lot of small players to come to our platform without any worrying of maybe if we're overcharging or anything.
So how many customers do you guys currently have?
About 35 customers.
Okay.
They're a mix of manufacturers, traders, distributors, some B2B startups, and then also retailers. So what's exclusive about us is that we do not focus on the last mile. So we will not be delivering to the consumer. Our
Okay.
focus is just on the B2B stream. So it starts from the manufacturer or the port to the last distribution point, which can be an end retailer or a retail store or any other factory or any other business that the customer supplies to.
Hmm. Okay, understood. Understood. And in terms of your current situation, is there anybody else doing anything similar in this environment?
If you look at Pakistan specifically, we only have the traditional 3PLs, but they're very limited to just the large corporations. So they would only work with the Unilevers, the RBs, and the Pepsis. But
Mm-hmm.
we don't have any fulfillment players, especially for B2B, for small, medium, or smaller, medium players. So
Mm.
that's why we want to bridge this accent and create this infrastructure to make sure that the 3.6 million SMEs in Pakistan have access to proper world-class supply chain infrastructure.
Okay. And I'm curious now. So we have players like, you have Airlift and you have others, Dastagir and Retailer. What is there any crossover, or are you a vendor to them?
It's the latter. We are a vendor to them. So since they're working on optimizing the customer experience, which is the last mile, we're helping them on their first mile, middle mile, and then also distribution centers. So, for example, for in the case with Airlift, what we can do is we can give them a distribution center where they can aggregate their inventory, and for
Okay.
them, Airlift will not have to spend the entire fixed cost on keeping a warehouse. So we will just like charge them on what they store instead of just billing the entire warehouse to them. And from there on, they can distribute those products to their dark stores. This will give them a very dynamic model, and it will optimize their last mile or their cost per order price as well, because they won't be being billed for fixed cost or indirect cost.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And to your knowledge, are you the only ones doing this, or who else is doing this out there?
Globally, when we started doing the project ideation, uh, the one company that actually stood out was Stored. So it's a company based in the USA. They're based out of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they are actually working on just the SMEs in America and
Mm-hmm.
creating that cloud infrastructure, mapping out different distribution centers and logistics companies, and giving a very flexible model to businesses in America. Then in the recent years, we've seen this model grow out to Europe as well, where we have Everstock from Germany and then Spaceful in France working on a similar model.
Excellent.
But
Excellent.
we are the only ones doing it for B2B in Pakistan or this region.
That's great. That's great. Well, this is really interesting. It's good to hear that there are now these. It's almost like you're becoming a service provider to the service provider, which is pretty interesting, right? So you're really changing that dynamic. Last question: what's the biggest challenge in terms of keeping this machine running?
I think at the moment I think in terms of the numbers, we're pretty solid because we're a unit economics positive business. But to convert customers and bring their mindset into a new form of supply chain. So this is supply chain 4.0. So that's the challenge, but we're trying our best to create that awareness where people move towards from a traditional mindset to a digitally enabled mindset, especially in Pakistan. We
Sure.
have a lot of success stories. So we're trying to project those success stories to different companies, so they also have the trust, and they also want to take that mission where they want to change their supply chain. So hopefully, we will be building the digital infrastructure in Pakistan for supply chain.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, so Adil, as you know, we try to keep these pretty short and informative. We've come to the end of our time here. First of all, thank you very much for joining me today. Very interesting to hear about what you're working on. This is the first time I've run into this, so it's very interesting for me.
So thank you, Farooq. Thank you for this opportunity. and especially helping us get the word out there. And it's great what you're doing for Pakistan.
Thank you, sir. And to our audience, as you've seen and heard, we're focusing on the positivity. Lots of interesting companies doing lots of different things. Seems like changes are being made one step at a time. So please continue, like, share, and subscribe. Share what we have. Give us some more ideas. We're always looking for interesting candidates to come on the show. And with that, I bid you all Allah Hafiz.